What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Eve Online. Try to get this a little bit closer, and we're going to do some more exploration. You can see up in the upper left corner here, I've set up a 21 jump route for myself. I just pulled up the map, saw where I was, and tried to hit all of the 0.5 or so systems, or most of them anyway. I missed this one, and I missed this one up here. But that's a popular area right there. So I'm going to just sort of pop around and scan all of these different areas and see what comes up. I've offloaded my loot here, so if worse comes to worse, I can sell all that locally for like I guess I should mute that tab. For like 2 million. If I hit sell items, you can see it shows you like what percentage these things are. There's nothing on the market for these, so it's just one ISK each, which will not do that. So below the general average, and it gives me about 2.2 million. So that'll be more than enough to buy myself a new ship. So I'll just leave that here, or 2 ships, maybe even 3. So I've got this stuff on here. I thought maybe we would get into wormholes, but because it's Sunday afternoon when I'm recording this, it doesn't seem like a very wise idea to get into wormholes when the server populations are as high as they are. So I'm just going to get out and start doing some scanning and see what comes up. So drop off the carbon. I've got a nice full or empty cargo hold to go through, and we'll see what comes up. So again, I'm going to try to break this up into some scanning and probing, and then maybe a different video for each of the sites that I come across. So I'm going to close that now. I don't need to worry about that. I do want to open up the probe scanner though. Looks like there's one cosmic signature here. Might as well scan that down, see what comes up. And that's right there. All right, and B is the hotkey for this analyze item here. So I would guess this will be a wormhole, just because a lot of times when there's just the one item there, that's often what it is. We'll drop it to 2, line it up, and we're good to go. So it's Sunday afternoon. It's been a really hot day. Been out hiking and doing social things, and nope, looks like it's the other spot. All right. It's time to get in here and make some videos and get some exploration done. So hopefully we can make some progress, make a little bit of money, see what we get here. Notice that I've cleared out all the bookmarks that I made previously. Since it's been a few days since I last did this, those bookmarks are effectively worthless. Nothing is going to be there anymore. So just because I'm going to break this up a little bit. I might not jump into this wormhole, but I'm going to scan it all the way down and talk a little bit about how to prep for wormhole stuff. So let me see here. I'm just Googling because I don't remember off the top of my head, or have actually I bet I do have yeah, let's just I Googled Eve online wormhole lookup. Now generally if you've got a cloak, you may want to come in on these things at 30 or 50 kilometers out and stay cloaked and just sort of watch the wormhole a little bit, just to see what kind of traffic is coming in and out, how popular it is, and because I'm done here I can, so let's just save this as, all right. Notice that it says XQM-135. So if I do, hell, I could even probably type this into Google. XQM-135 wormhole. EVE Online. Maybe. But all right, so we're here, and you can see the wormhole is 6,000 meters away. It's wormhole K162. Now that'll tell you what information you need, at least initially, and if you show info on the wormhole, this tells us a lot more information. So, unstable wormhole deep in space. Wormholes of this kind usually collapse after a few days and can lead to anywhere. All right, so that's usually there's some information there. How it's classified as unstable tells you something. Let me see. And just to look up a little bit more information here, the wormhole seems to lead into unknown parts of space, which means it leads to wormhole space. Sometimes that'll say it seems to lead into low security space, high security space, null security space, things like that. So, but that's what's known as W space, is wormhole space. So, and then lastly, it says it's beginning to decay and probably won't last another day. That's relatively early in its life. It's not yet had its stability significantly disrupted by ships passing through it. Larger ships can pass through this wormhole. All right, so each of these items is important. So about 24 hours is the full lifetime of the wormhole. I believe the age, let's see. Different wormholes have different lifetimes ranging from 16 to 36 hours, and it's just based off of a complete timer, right? And they also, like we've talked about in the past, have a mass limit and a jump limit, but those two things are tied, like how much mass has passed through it. So if this one allows large ships, which you saw here. If you jump a large ship, like a battleship, back and forth across the wormhole, you can close it. So people who live in wormholes generally will try to close the wormholes that are accessible to parts of space that they don't like or want. Let's see. This website is telling me here that you can visually identify certain characteristics about a wormhole by, you can tell what type of space a wormhole goes to by looking at the center of the wormhole, which I guess let's look at. We'll shrink that and move that over. All right, so you see this star in here? I would guess that gives us information. It doesn't have anything, and it says it's kind of an art. And you can tell which size of ship by looking at the color of the halo surrounding it. So this would tell us that it's large, presumably. But if you show info, as it's like, all right, so let's start at the top again and go down the way. So the wormhole is beginning to decay and probably won't last another day. As the timer gets closer and closer to 0, this little message will change. And let's see, I'm trying to find a list of like all of the options of what that might say. But if it says that it may close at any moment, you need to be very careful about popping into that, because it may close behind you or while you're in there scanning things, and then you have to scan down the next wormhole that spawned, or wait for it to spawn and then scan it down and jump wormhole to wormhole to wormhole until you find an exit into, ideally, high security space. And again, you get varying messages on the stability, disruption, and how ships have passed through it, and that'll tell you whether it's close to closing or not, and also the size. So if you Google, let's see, I just went back to EVE Online wormhole lookup, and there's the first item here is a wormhole system search. So if I hold, let's see, K162, I got, here, let's push this back a little bit. I used to be much better at this, but if I pop into it, like if I entered the wormhole and then looked up here at the location, so let's just do that for the sake of, let's see. Approach, enter wormhole. All right, if you go through this wormhole, you may end up in the far reaches of space where Concord will not be able to help you. So we're gonna zoom it, we're gonna pop in and pop out really quick. Boom, there we go. And we've got 60 or 30 seconds once we've zoned over. All right, so one thing to do immediately is to directional scan. All right, this is clearly an inhabited wormhole. So, but J121856. J121856. And it tells us that it's a class 3 wormhole. Okay, so we're gonna go back out here. We're gonna enter that wormhole. Nothing is right next to us that we can see. Anybody could attack us at this moment, so it's really dangerous once you get into wormholes. But this K162, D845, these things next to the wormholes tell you effectively what's on the other side, right? Is it class 1, class 2, class 3? K162 is a standard, and that's right here. And so K162, or like classes 1 and 2, I think. I'm speaking ignorant here. So I'm actually gonna refrain from spouting what could be wrong items, and I'm just going to jump on to the next point. But close down the directional scanner there. But that's one way to do it. So if you Google the 6-digit or 7-digit wormhole name, it'll tell you all about that. Some wormholes have effects like your shields are half, but your weapons do more, or your scanners are stronger, or all kinds of different modifications. Higher level wormholes like wormhole 5 or 6, you're not going to be able to find exploration sites that you can do without combat. You're going to need to have people and things there, people and escort basically. You're going to need combat in order to do any of the sites that you might find there. So if you do want to get into, let's see, here we go. If you do want to get into wormholes and wormhole space, it's very lucrative because the risk is very high. But you need to know what you're getting yourself into. So if you go to a place and you do a search, you find out that it is a class 5 wormhole, you're, as an alpha character in this tier 1 ship or tech 1 ship, you're not going to be able to do any of the sites that you might be able to scan down, if you can scan any of them down as it is. So that first one's a combat site, and we'll just center that and get it scanning again. And so you don't want to waste your time scanning down all these things and exposing yourself to the dangers of a class 5 wormhole if there's no way that you're going to be able to benefit from it. So it's good to keep those things in mind. Know that 1, 2, and 3 are generally something that you're going to be able to do, and that's good. So no exploration sites there. We're just going to go to the next system. Wormhole and a combat site. If you're not careful, when you have the map selected or this scan window selected, if you hit one of the number keys, 1 through 6, you can unfortunately uncheck some of the boxes here for anomalies or cosmic signatures. So if you're typing something out and you accidentally hit a 1 or a 2, you can end up not seeing any of the items that you're actually out there looking for. So periodically make sure that you've got the boxes checked for the items that you want. Because it's really frustrating when you have that problem. I say that because I've experienced it. All right, there's one signature there. All right, and zoom in a little bit. That should be good enough. So I'm gonna remove that location. What I ended up doing inadvertently there was removing my final waypoint to get me home. So, oh, man, I'm just having trouble right now. All right, that's there. Needs to encompass that ring. Maybe we can, yeah. All right, let's give it a try. I would guess it's not going to like that. We're going to need to blow it back up to 4 AU. Yeah. So this is exploration. Lots of hopping around, scanning. The nice thing about doing it in null or low security space is there really aren't that many people down there. If you can find a relatively deserted area in one of those parts of space, you're perfectly safe, really, because if I should have shrunk it, damn. Because if you just keep your eye on local chat, it'll show you if somebody enters the zone. You cloak up, and you just kind of get yourself in a relatively safe position and stay cloaked for as long as it takes to, you know, get that person to leave or get on with their way. So that's another wormhole, and we'll just keep jumping. So, in many ways, exploring in nullsec is safer than wormhole space. Wormhole space is much more dangerous because you don't have local chat. You don't know if you're alone. You don't know if anyone else is there with you. You just know nothing until somebody shows up on your directional scan or shows up and pops up on your overview, which is not how you want to discover somebody coming to kill you. One way that you can avoid that, though, just as a safety note while we scan, is if you're sitting in an area and you're, I don't know, doing whatever it is that you're there to do. Let's launch some probes. And while you're scanning, on directional scan, you see probes around you and you know that they're not your probes. That's an indication that somebody is scanning either you down or the site that you're at. And so cloaking up and getting someplace safe would probably be the best bet there as well. All right, that's a combat site. And hopefully we'll find something worth doing. And when we do, I'll just kind of end the video there. We'll make one video of, what the hell. We'll just fold this first one into that, and then we'll make another. We'll try to break it up a little bit so they're not super long. Because you can easily get into making these videos, especially with exploration, and find that they're like, you know, an hour long as you just hop around and do sites that you find. All right, that's a wormhole, so collect our probes, jump to the next area. And this would have been a good zone to find something just because there are few people here. The odds that, you know, I could find something and have it not be already harvested up were higher just because it's a bit more remote. Yeah, so we had Gamescom a few days ago, and I've been sort of keeping my eye over the last 4 years, 4 to 5 years, keeping my eye on Star Citizen. And usually I watch their demos and I'm super impressed and I'm hyped for the game. I understand that it's either going to take a long time to get to where it's an actual released game, or it's never going to get there, and the likelihood of that is relatively high. But I really enjoy seeing what they're doing and, thinking about the game that I might be able to play at some point. But this year I watched it, and most of the tech they were demonstrating was this faceware stuff. And it allows the computer or a webcam to map your lips and your eyes and your nose and some other things. And then as you talk, it syncs up your voice chat with your mouth, or at least the delay is probably similar. And so you can make facial expressions of your character can make facial expressions as you make facial expressions, which is both cool and creepy. And you can have voice chat where it's just like you're talking. So it's cool, but on the other hand, I'm like, finish your game and then work on the gimmicky shit, like lining up my voice and making it so that when I move further away from a character, it sounds like I'm moving across the room. That's fine, but I'm here because of a space flight sim, and especially a story-driven one. So if you could get your shit focused on that instead of lining up facial movements with mouth talking and other weird shit, that would be great. But that's my take, and I'm somewhere in the middle. I know there are people who hate that game because what they think it represents, and this, vaporware Kickstarter thing. And then there's people who have had all the Kool-Aid that has been offered to them, and they're just dumping money into it to support Chris Roberts and their company, and they're bought into it. I am neither of those people. Like I said, I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, but I'm not holding my breath. So we found one wormhole here, and whatever this is going to be. Yeah, it's a wormhole. So we'll just keep on jumping. Let's see who's texting me. So anyway, there was a 2-hour-long demo from Gamescom for Star Citizen, and they showed most of what they're hoping to release in version 3.0, which they were demoing last year and said would be out by June. That was obviously not true. I think they think it'll be coming out here soonish, in the next month or two, but who knows. So the game is taking on more and more features, and what you're able to do in the game as it is right now, in its very, very early release form, is the list of things you can do is increasing. But I don't know. A lot of times I feel like I don't know. I'll wait until the released game. I mean, maybe there's enough to do there that it's really cool and I'm just missing out. I think I'm going to give it a try once 3.0 does get implemented and released to the general supporter public. But right now, I tried 2.6, I got in, I poked around a little bit. That's a combat site, we're jumping. we're moving. Keep it going, people. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll stream a little bit when I open it up in 3.0. If it's really come into something that's worth playing, I'll whip out my massive joystick, and that sounded bad. I picked up this very nice joystick, and I haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to use it I sort of bought it with anticipation of Star Citizen. So right now it's occupying the closet. Am I missing something? All right. There are no signatures here or anomalies, so we're just going to keep on jumping. We are about a quarter of the way through our route, what we set up for ourselves. Nope, I guess it didn't.
Warp drive active.
It's interesting that now it shows the sites that, like, I had to double back on one of the zones that I'd been in. But it's interesting now that it shows the sites that I've partially scanned, and it maintains that. Early on in exploration, that was not the case. If you left the zone, you lost all scanning data and information, all partial, sort of coordinates and everything, and you just had to start from scratch. I got this new office chair for myself, and if I let it, it will help me, will very much help me sit properly. All right, we've been here, so we're just going to keep jumping.
Warp drive active.
And yeah, feels good. Support a little lower back support. That's nice. Got this. I've been building up the office. I don't know if you can see. I've got these audio panels here that are hopefully doing something to reduce the echo that was in here originally. And moved the desk over there, the one I was using before. Very nice desk, just not a great computer desk for me. And bought one of these standing desks that you can adjust the height really easily for. And I'm much lower to the ground now, which is good. I'm not short, but I needed that desk, and my desk at work has like one of those drawers underneath in the middle. And it wouldn't let me get to the point where I was sort of ergonomically correct. All right, this is a bit of a dry spell here.
Active.
Got nothing. Or I'm just doubling back over a lot of the zones I was in, which is a very real possibility. I wasn't super careful in how I laid out my course. But what I did do is I made sure to leave all of my previous scanned goods, or all my previous exploration loot at the station. So if I do die somewhere, I won't lose that. All right. I'm going to try to look up some information here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Got a little bit of information here. Get down on it. Now there are a handful or a bunch of people here. Not terribly too many, but 11. So I'll be surprised if I scan this down, get to it, and yeah, we're going to go straight there. We're not going to save the site and go through the act of, because there's nothing else that we need to scan down. We just need to get in and try to hack these cans. With more than 1 or 2 people here, you can almost guarantee that somebody has been here. Oh, well. So we'll have to see. It may be that these two were just left over by somebody, and we'll find out soon enough if there's just carbon in each of them. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, all right. Well, let's do it. That's relic. That's the data analyzer. And let's see. Okay, that's good. And the wrench we use right away. 3. So we know it's not going to be up here because it's 3 away. Yep. All right. Well. 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. Really? Alright, well, looks like we've got to pop that one. And there it is. Alright. We got that. That's good. And me just focusing on the hacking while I'm doing it is not good practice when you're in a wormhole. So when you're someplace else where you're in high security space and you don't need to worry about somebody just popping up out of nowhere, you kind of have less to worry about in that regard. Whereas now, let's see, that one we can unlock that. This one we can start hacking. Generally what you want to do, or what I have found to be useful, is once I've done this, I usually have my directional scanner, and I'm going to pop that out. And when I am hacking, I have the directional scanner right next to it. And this is V. So I pull, usually nothing will come up here, or very little, right? So somebody is scanning this down. And so I need to just make sure that I finish what I'm doing. Notice that I'm staying in the middle again. All right. Now, just to be sure, just to be safe, those are probably my probes that I saw. There we go. Stack all. Alright, so we've made a bit of money so far. And we'll just jump off to the next system. And I think I'm going to wrap up this video. I'll do the next one for the rest of the route, and we can go from there. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.